Well, hey crafty friends, it's Heidi Scott with DIY and I'm super excited about the button flowers that we're going to be making today. This is a combination of some Dollar Tree cookie sheets, some vintage book pages from this dictionary. It's a little bit of felt. It's going to involve some of these clothes stem wires, some punches, and the most important thing, the vintage buttons. Okay, and what I want to say before I get started is you can adapt this idea to any kind of buttons you have, any color scheme you want. I'm going to show you a bunch of different alternatives, and anyways, it's something different and something fun to do, and dang, they are turning out cute. Okay, so before I introduce you to these, this is what we're going to be making. Let me just show you these. They're a little dusty, but this was a project that I made maybe 4 years ago here on DIY, and these are just wood buttons that I stacked, and I used some silver wire. And anyway, so these are always sitting right here because they're one of my favorite all-time projects, and I just wanted to get those out to show you. Okay, so like I said, you can use any kind of button you want, but I'm using these. I have several different cards of them. I think I picked them up at an antique store a long time ago. And here's the thing about these. This is this green that I'm dying over right now. So this is the total centerpiece theme of the flowers we're making, along with this. So it's this green color that I'm just absolutely loving. All right, so let's start at the very beginning. Okay, what is the beginning? Well, I'm building my little flower thing in a salt shaker from Dollar Tree. $1.25. I filled mine with sand, but I've seen people fill them with all kinds of different things. I just wanted something that would stabilize my flowers when I put them in there, okay? And let's talk about the Dollar Tree cookie tins first. These come a set of 2. I know not every Dollar Tree carries these, but you can get something similar at your regular grocery store or at Walmart or Target. They're disposable sheets that you could bake cookies or other kinds of foods on, and they have this design on it, and they're thin enough that you can cut them with scissors or a punch. So these, if you're looking for these, they're at Dollar Tree. They're in the cooking section. Oh, I forgot to say any of my usual stuff. Hey, as you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know that you're watching and where you're watching from. Feel free to ask questions. If you like this, feel free to sprinkle, all that good stuff. I don't have any links. I'm going to just tell you basically where everything came from, okay? So the cookie sheets came from Dollar Tree. And what you're going to want to do is punch them. Or if you don't have punches, you could cut out whatever shape you want using a pair of scissors. These don't hurt your scissors. In fact, they should help sharpen scissors and sharpen punches. Okay, I want to tell you one little warning about these. They are quite sharp. So I usually start by cutting one of these crinkled sides off. But I just want to warn you that the edges are pretty sharp, and if you're not paying attention, you could cut yourself on this. Okay, so I'm going to toss that, but I have seen other crafts that you can do with that. Okay, and the reason why I wanted to cut this straight is because I want to be able to put it into my punches. Okay, speaking of punches, these are my 2 favorite punches. This one's like a 3-inch scallop circle. And this one I think is a 2.5-inch flower shape. They both came from Hobby Lobby like 3 years ago. They're the Hobby Lobby brand, so they're no specific brand. They're back with the scrapbook paper and cards and that kind of thing. And I picked them up when they were 40% off. So, and I've used these so much. They do have a little bottom on them, which I took off because I think it's easier to use them without the bottom. But basically, you're just gonna stick your cookie sheet into your punch. Sometimes it's hard to get them out because they want to bend. Okay, and this is what you're gonna get. That one, or this is my favorite one. Okay. And then, you guys, I haven't really crafted with these in a while, but I went through a phase about 2.5, 3 years ago where I used these cookie sheets every other day. But then you can kind of bend your little petals up. Can you see that on that little flower? Or you can take this and sort of form it around the outside. This is the other salt and pepper shaker. Just not do that very centered, but there you go. You get the idea. So there's lots that you can do with these cookie sheets. When I see them in stock, they're $1.25 at Dollar Tree. I usually buy 3 sets of them, and then I'll just have them in my closet, use them up. They're great. And there's 1,000,001 things that you can do with those besides what we're doing today. Okay, so that's the first thing. Punches, Hobby Lobby, tin, Dollar Tree. Okay, and then the next thing we're gonna use before we get to the main attraction is some vintage paper. My grandmother, we called her Mamu, was a school teacher. And when she got older, she had a large collection of books that she really worried that nobody wanted. And I love books. So I inherited a bunch of her books, including a set of this dictionary, this New Century Dictionary. And they sat in a drawer in our front room for 20 years before I realized that I'm missing out, that there's so many cool things that you can do with vintage dictionary pages. And I honestly feel like my grandmother would be tickled by the things I've been able to do with this book. There's dictionaries everywhere. This one has special memories for me. And so I'm crafting and loving it. And I would encourage you to do the same. You can find something like this, either a dictionary, any kind of an old book, encyclopedia. You can find this kind of stuff at thrift stores and garage sales, or ask around, or start digging and see what you might have. What I like about this paper is that it's kind of yellow. Okay, so we're gonna do the exact same thing with this. And I always cut the margins off because I don't want my punches to look weird. So it's the same idea exactly. Here's a piece. And here's a piece. So, okay, so I've showed you the cookie tins, the paper. Now let's talk about felt. Okay, I decided to incorporate felt into my flowers today just to do something different. I played around for like 2 hours this morning, stacking buttons, using some beads, and this is what I came up with. And they're kind of cute, but I never want to come live until I'm absolutely in love with the project. And so I just kept going. I got my cookie tins out. I got some felt out. And this green was the focal point. Okay, so I started using this kind of wire. I don't know what the gauge is, I'm sorry. It's just the kind of wire that you can get in any craft department. It comes in silver, gold, or you could even use floral wire. This is floral wire from Dollar Tree. But what I like better, and this is one that I built on some of that, what I am liking better are these floral stems, cloth stem wires. I don't remember where I got these, but they're really strong and they're covered in like a green string or something. This is what they look like up close. And they're that green color I'm loving as well. So I'm going to be building on this, but just know that you can make your flowers on whatever kind of wire you have or you can find. Okay, and then as far as felt goes, I picked this package of 6 pieces up at Hobby Lobby. It was 40% off, so it was $8.99 minus 40%. I got it a few weeks ago, and this is like wool felt squares, so they're thick. It's not this kind of felt, which could work as well if this is what you have accessible to you. This is the felt that we used, remember, when we made, about a month ago, these adorable little lavender picks. Do you guys remember that? So you could use this kind of felt too, but I'm using this really thick wool felt, and I'm using these 3 colors. Green. This is like a celery slash a little bit of olive. I don't know. It's like the same color as the Magnolia Design Company chalk paste and ink that's called Magnolia Green. It's an awesome color. This is sort of a, I don't know what to call this, coral. And then this is a turquoise. So these are the colors that I'm using. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just cut out a bunch of little pieces, rounds, different sizes. And they're not perfectly round, and that gives it some charm. I don't think they need to be perfectly round. And since I only have this little bit of this felt, I'm not gonna waste a single bit of it. I'm gonna use every little corner and not throw away anything. Okay, so I've got a couple pieces of turquoise. I'm gonna make some leaves out of this green because that is the next thing I want to do. And I'm just freehand cutting these. Leaves don't have to have a specific shape. Okay, I'll save this. And let's do a couple circles out of this color. What do you guys think so far? This is where we're going. And I honestly think these are just way too adorable. My plan is to build a pretty full bouquet in this salt and pepper shaker. So not just 3, it'll probably have either 5 or 7 pieces. Another little round. And let's cut one more. Let's don't waste anything here. So thank you so much, everyone who did stars. I appreciate that. If you like buttons, or you like making DIY flowers, or anything like that, and you think that your social media friends and acquaintances would too, I would love it if you would consider sprinkling this to your social media. Okay, so you can cut these floral stems in half or in thirds. And I'm just gonna use some clippers basically to cut this in half. We'll do a couple long ones, and I have some that are like a third. All right, and then what I thought was that I would go all the way through all the layers and through the button and then back down again. And what I discovered is that was way too hard. So what I'm doing basically is I'm going through, let's see, the back layer and then just gluing it down. Okay, so let's make something cute with this one. This is that larger piece of cookie sheet. And I have, what color did I say this was? I don't know, pinkish, reddish color. And we'll use that. And we'll use this little green dot, and then we'll use this button. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I am going to use some needle nose plier thingies just to bend my wire so it looks like a shepherd's staff, sort of. All right, and then I am just going to poke it through my tin. And I'm gonna poke this edge, this other part of the shepherd's staff, through my tin as well. I'll show you this up close. And you see how it's just going through there? And then we're gonna cover that up and we're gonna glue this to our flower. Okay, so let's add the pink. You know, let's do a little bit of paper in here. And I'm just using my good old cheapy Surebonder low temperature hot glue gun that you can get everywhere. I'm gonna throw a piece of this petal paper inside of it. And then I'm gonna throw a piece of this coral colored felt inside of that. And then I'm gonna layer on a little bit of green. Now do be careful when you're using your hot glue gun on your felt, because it looks yucky when it gets on the front of your felt. And let's just put a little bit of glue here on the back where this stem is. And we're gonna add a button. Oops, that is still hot. Right here in the center. And I could use all different colored buttons if I wanted, but the thing is I'm going for this funky green theme. And I'm just gonna stick this in here. We'll fiddle around with how things are aimed later. Let's use a shorter one. And you can also cut your felt into cute little shapes if you want. And so I did this pink one, and I'm going to, oops, that one's messed up. Bend one of these. Honestly, there's so many possibilities for this idea. It's just completely ridiculous. Okay, and I'm just gonna glue this straight in between my felt and my little tin. So when you sit down to play with this kind of a project, you're just gonna wanna keep playing all day long. I mean, honestly, I don't wanna do anything that's necessary today. I just wanna play with my felt. Okay, and I'm gonna add a leaf right here. And let's put, I'll cut this smaller. No, I'm going to use this one right here. Perfect. I did not do a good job cutting a circle with that one, but it does not matter. So what ties this whole bouquet together is this green button and the green bits of felt, and then the green stems. What do you guys think? Isn't that cute? Oh. I think I want this one shorter. And I feel like this still needs something on it. So, well, maybe not now that I have it a little bit shorter, it should be fine. I will fiddle around with how they're standing, but this is where we're going. Let's make a couple more. What do you guys think so far? Isn't it cute and different? That's the thing. I posted yesterday a whole bunch of pictures from Pinterest of different button kind of projects. And, you know, my flowers, those just inspired me. My flowers are completely different. And that's what I love about just searching around for ideas, because then you take it and you make it your own. I didn't see any other button flowers that look like mine. Okay, this is 2 layers of the tin, with the stem just sandwiched in between. We'll put this in the center with a little bit of the turquoise. And let's do this size button. These buttons that I'm using today they're not valuable. I don't even know how vintage they actually are, because they're still on the cards. So if you have been sewing for a while, look in your sewing area, because you may have something that would work that looks this kind of idea already. Let's make a couple of leaves. This one. Other than the massive amounts of glue strings, I think they're turning out pretty darn adorable. Let's see, where do I want this one? need one more big tall something. Have I broken my rule? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, we need one more. So let's use this one right here. And let's use a piece of paper in the center of it. Let me think, how do I want to do this? I think I'll just lay this on the back of this. That really does seem to be the easiest way to attach these. And then I'll use this extra piece of punched Dollar Tree cookie sheet over the top to kind of sandwich that in. You'll never know that it's there. And let's do a big green something in the center. You love the lilac flowers that we made. If you guys missed this video, I call these twirly-do flowers. Let me pull one out. They are, whoops, let me glue this in here while it's still hot. These are so fun and easy to make. They're basically this. You make a tube and then you cut little slits and then you just twirl it around. And I absolutely love how this turned out. And all these different colors of purple came from Hobby Lobby, their felt area. Okay, now I want a turquoise, but I want it to be smaller. Okay, you know you're a crafter when this is what your wedding ring looks like. It's covered in glue. Okay, let's find one more button. What size do we want to do? Let's do a big one. So I will fiddle around with my arrangement here. Maybe I'll put that in there. And there we go. It's not wanting to go into the sand. I'll fiddle around with this, get some good pictures. But what I want to know is, do you like this project? Is this something that you might be inclined to do? Do you like the combination of the Dollar Tree cookie sheets with the vintage dictionary pages with the felt and the green buttons? Tell me what you think. All right, and if you haven't already liked and followed this page, DIY Dreaming, you can do that up here. There's 3 dots if you're watching this video on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, I'd love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to like this video. If you have friends that you think would get a kick out of doing these kind of button If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. And if you do this, or say something to me in the comments, then chances are, and I don't believe in luck, I believe in God's favor. I don't think there's any such thing as luck. But anyways, the odds, I hate to use that word, that Facebook will actually show you what I have coming up tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, those odds increase if you interact with me here on this video. So do this, or slam some hearts, or say something to me in the comments. And if you missed yesterday's video, we used buttons for that too. Also green. I sense a green issue coming on lately. This is what we made. Isn't it cute? And look at the buttons, the button flowers that I made. Aren't those cute? So this was yesterday's project. The other one that we were working on is not finished yet, but you can click the videos tab and go back and watch this video if you'd like to know how I made all these little flowers. And if you want links for anything at all, just say link and I'll be glad to get that for you. So I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you decide to make some of these little button flowers, I would love to see pictures. Either you can put them here in the comments or over at Dreamy DIY, which is the Facebook group I set up for all of us to share our pictures and craft ideas. If you haven't joined that yet, just answer the questions and we'll say, come on in, and then you can get a cup of coffee or a glass of iced tea or a glass of wine and sit down for about 2 hours and look at all the amazing craft photos that have been put up there in that group. That group's completely free. There's no anything that you need to do to join except for agree that you'll be nice, which of course you will, that you won't share other crafters' videos there, and that you won't use it to try to sell anything. And I'd love to have you join that group, and I would mostly like to see pictures if you decide to do something like this. So that's all I have for you right now. I hope to see you later. Let me know if I can help you with anything. And oh, Cheryl says she absolutely loves my projects. Oh, thank you. I just have figured out what I like, and I hope that you guys like it too, because you know, if you don't like these colors, you could do this exact same project just in a different color wave or with a different kind of buttons or a different container. So most of my projects are just to give you an idea that you can take and make your own and do your own thing. Alrighty. And if you missed the beginning, come back after I'm done here and click the videos tab and you can watch it on replay. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.